If you're looking to purchase a home in Montgomery County and this is your very first time purchasing a home, here are 5 tips to help you get started. Hello there, my name is Henry and I am the husband in the husband and wife team homes here in Montgomery County. We're real estate agents serving the DC metropolitan area. We specialize in selling homes in the DC metropolitan area, specifically Montgomery County, as well as helping people relocate into this area. So let's jump right into it, and starting with number 1, talk to a real estate agent. I know, it seems very, very self-serving to have my number 1 first-time homebuyer tip talking to somebody within my own profession, but there's a reason for it. So, not to elevate my profession even more, but I want you to think about a real estate agent as a combination of a doctor, lawyer, and a, wedding planner. So a doctor's job is to give you advice to take preventative measures so that you don't run into disaster later, right? You want to take care of your health, but there's certain things that you can do to help maintain your health. So think about that in terms of your investment into real estate. You're doing things to prevent yourself from running into issues later. Now, where does the lawyer pop in? Well, the lawyer is there to protect you and your interests, right? You wouldn't try to represent yourself in court. I mean, there are lawyers who hire lawyers themselves whenever they actually, go into court. So just like that, you also want to hire a real estate agent to protect you and your particular interests. Now, where does the wedding planner come in? Well, this is a great analogy because when do you actually hire a wedding planner? It's usually at the beginning, right? As you're planning things. You don't plan out your entire wedding, then hire the planner. So the wedding planner's job is not necessarily to do everything. They're not going to cook the food for you, treat your guests, or be the person actually officiating the wedding. However, they are going to make sure that everything is coordinated between the different parties so that everything runs really, really smoothly. So the number 1 tip, start with a real estate agent. Every real estate agent has a little bit different style and communication approach. We take an education-based approach where we try to anticipate the common questions so that way they're answered before you even think to ask them. Because a lot of times people are concerned, well, I haven't bought a home before, so I don't even know what questions to ask. So that's why we take an education-based approach to make sure that we educate you on all of these things so that way we eliminate all of those questions ahead of time. We want to make sure that there are always clear next steps along the way so that way you're never feeling lost throughout the process. We've actually had people who've purchased before who work with us again on another purchase, and they're amazed at just how much a little bit of information has made a difference in their whole purchasing process. So it's extremely important to leverage that. Now, on top of that, the real estate agent also has referrals for you because when you ask for friends or family for advice on maybe lenders or home inspectors or things like that, that's usually based off of a one-time experience. But a real estate agent, this is what we do every day. So we only vet people who work well with us on a repeated basis. You don't want to necessarily hire somebody that just works well one time, but then doesn't do a very good job the other time, and then is a total flake the next time. You want somebody who consistently does a really, really great job for clients, and that's who we recommend. We don't recommend people who are inconsistent with their performance. Tip number 2, go with a local lender. I know it's really, really tempting. Everything is so convenient online or to work with your large bank. However, Montgomery County, it's so important to work with a local lender, not just because they know a lot of the local programs that might help you save you a lot of money, but they work hard and they tend to be able to communicate in ways that a lot of the larger banks can't. Additionally, if we're talking about underwriting, which is the large process of the loan, this is an area where a lot of times the big banks, they can't keep things on time or within the deadlines. And they don't communicate that. And it's not necessarily the lender's fault, but it's just the way that the bank is set up where the underwriting department might be in a completely different part of the country. So the responsiveness and the working 7 days a week, just like us real estate agents do, all of those things would contribute to having a local lender be a really, really important part. And sometimes the lender itself can make or break a deal or make or break whether or not you actually get the house. That's how important it is here in Montgomery County. Number 3, if you're using Zillow or Redfin or any of those sites to search for your homes, you're already behind the curve. So many times we've had people who try to search for homes on their own and wait until they find the right home to contact an agent. And ultimately, while we can work really fast and sometimes get those people that home, a lot of times it just ends in disappointment because the people who are going through the proper steps with an agent and with a lender end up being able to act a lot faster. So the agents have something to access to something called the MLS, the Multiple Listing Service. That is the source of information where Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com, all of those websites get their information. So since it's the source, they get it faster. So if the agent is up at 3 in the morning putting a listing online, If you're working with an agent who has access to the MLS, you get that information immediately right there at 3 in the morning. You might not want to get that email, but the point is, if you're acting fast, which in a fast-moving market like Montgomery County you probably will be, then it's really, really important to have access to the most accurate information as quickly as possible, rather than from an information aggregating website such as Zillow or Redfin. Number 4, ask questions. You should always feel at ease asking questions to your real estate agent. You should never feel like, oh, I'm just going to be a bother, or I don't want to ask another question, or I felt like I've asked this question already. Even if you have, always feel free to ask those questions, even if it's repeatedly, even if it's the same one. If your agent is not patient enough to answer those questions, they're probably not patient enough to go through the contract and it's in a way that is explained to you so you understand what the heck you're actually signing. And number 5, don't be afraid to make a change. If you're watching this video because you already have an agent and maybe you need some additional tips because your agent is not quite doing it for you, don't be afraid to cut out those agreements and use those cancellation clauses, because that's what they're for. They're here to protect you. You're the person hiring the agent, so they need to be doing a great job for you. We've had a good number of people who come to us because they have had a negative experience with an agent and they receive us as a referral, or they find one of our videos and reach out to us. So if you just need to have a conversation, maybe need a consultation, see if we have anything different to say or anything helpful to say, then feel free. There's a link to schedule a conversation with us right there in the YouTube description. So feel free to click on that. Thanks so much for watching this video. Hope you found this useful, and we'll catch you in the next video. Take care.